This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. As we have been reporting, governors from across the Caribbean and beyond are calling on the U.S. government to quickly reopen U.S. ports. It comes as the cruise season prepares to set sail, perhaps later than expected. Our Washington correspondent Matt Knadler explains where things stand right now.
Virgin Islands Governor Albert Bryan sent a letter this week to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control urging the expedited reopening of ports in the territories and states. Puerto Rico Governor Pedro Pierluisi and Hawaii Governor David Ige are among the 7 executives co-signing the letter. It comes as the tourism industry begins another season under the coronavirus pandemic, specifically for cruise lines. Bryan says the Virgin Islands is poised to vaccinate enough people by July that would allow tourists to visit safely. But they are asking the CDC to offer more official guidance as soon as possible so Americans can get back to work. Bryan estimates that over 421,000 jobs are connected to the cruise industry. In the letter, Bryan says, quote, an entire year has passed since the cruise ships entered any of our ports. However, to restart the cruise industry safely and confidently, we would all benefit from guidance from the Centers for Disease Control. New CDC guidance issued on Tuesday provides some details for workers, but it does not explicitly give ships permission to enter these ports, notably those cruise ships. The CDC is allowing crew members to disembark from all cruise ships in the U.S. waters with certain precautions. Criteria include that no confirmed cases of COVID-19 or symptoms on board the ship within the last 14 days. That online statement from the CDC adds that meeting those criteria does not mean cruise ships can resume passenger operations. Cruise lines need to establish additional safety measures before sailing with passengers is permitted to resume. In Washington, Matt Knadler reporting.
Meantime, the state of Florida is suing the Biden administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to reopen the cruise industry immediately and allow cruises to resume safely. Governor Ron DeSantis announced the legal action at a news conference in Port Miami Thursday. The lawsuit seeks to end federal overreach and allow Floridians to safely get back to work and travel. According to the lawsuit, Florida government does not believe the federal government has the right to take the major industry out of service for over a year now based on, quote, very little evidence and very little data, end quote. The CDC shut down sailing last year when several coronavirus outbreaks were tied to ships worldwide. DeSantis says the no-sail order is outdated and hurts the state and the industry, which generates billions for the economy.
And so today, I'm happy to announce that on behalf of the tens of thousands of Floridians whose livelihood depends on the viability of an open cruise industry, today Florida's fighting back. We're filing a lawsuit against the federal government and the CDC demanding that our cruise ships be reopened immediately.
A growing number of states are coming forward with their plans to use those so-called COVID-19 vaccine passports. Although there's no federal plan to implement any kind of passport system in the U.S. right now, the issue is already raising both equity and security concerns.
COVID-19 digital vaccine passports are quickly becoming a divisive issue and raising privacy concerns. And as some states figure out how to implement them, tech giants are teaming up with health organizations to make their digital COVID pass a reality for consumers.
This is a way for people to get back to our new normal in a safe way.
The Vaccination Credential Initiative has teamed up with companies including IBM, Microsoft, Salesforce, and Oracle. With the Mayo Clinic and the Commons Project, a nonprofit with a vaccine passport app currently working with some airlines.
You get your vaccination or you have your COVID-19 test, you're negative. If you have a smartphone, you download it onto your Apple Wallet or your Google Pay and you store it in there.
But not everybody is on board. While the companies say no location or medical data will be stored on the apps, it's still raising concerns for potential users. There's also equity concerns.
Fred, not everybody has a smartphone. I have lots of patients with flip phones, with those little burner phones.
The Vaccination Credential Initiative is playing a key role in developing U.S. standards and guidelines for these digital health passes and says it's up to each community and institution to decide how to use the apps.
I think some employers are making a decision to require vaccination, and I think the EEOC issued a ruling in December that is up to employers to be able to make that decision.
While several states, including New York and Hawaii, are embracing the idea, others, like Florida, have moved to ban them. Well, United Airlines is now accepting applications to its flight school. The air carrier says it's planning to train 5,000 new pilots by 2030. At least half of them will be women and people of color. United and its credit card partner, JP Morgan Chase, have committed more than $2 million in scholarships to help diversify the cockpits. Students enrolled at United Aviation Academy don't need any prior flying experience. This year, they expect to enroll 100 students. The latest now on COVID-19 case counts here in the territory. The latest numbers from the VI Department of Health show there are currently 42 active cases throughout the territory. There are 21 in St. Croix, 18 in St. Thomas, and 3 in St. John. Now, these case numbers have gone down a bit since the start of this week, but health leaders say you should still be cautious as more contagious variants of COVID-19 spread throughout the nation. And the Virgin Islands Department of Health continues with its vaccination efforts in the territory in order to get as many residents COVID-19 vaccines as possible. There are several providers throughout the territory helping to get shots into arms. To book an appointment, you can call 340-777-VAX or 8227. You can also go online to vitima.vi.gov or covid19usvi.com/vaccines. Anybody over the age of 16 is now eligible to get the vaccine here in the territory. In order for the community to reach herd immunity, Governor Albert Bryan has set up a goal of getting 50,000 residents vaccinated by July 1st. Now, that's half of the territory's population, and right now, we are more than halfway towards reaching that goal. And as the Virgin Islands is doing a great job with vaccination distribution, the U.S. reaches a milestone in its COVID vaccination efforts. According to data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 25% of adults in the country have been fully vaccinated. Data also shows 40% of adults and 75% of seniors have received at least one dose. New Mexico, South Dakota, and Alaska have surpassed the national average. All American adults should be eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine throughout the nation by April 19th, that is. Well, the CDC says the more contagious COVID variant first detected in the UK has now become the most common coronavirus strain here in the U.S. Despite a recent drop in the number of deaths, case counts, and hospitalizations, they're on the rise. Just 5 states account for 43% of all cases this past week. No word if the variant has popped up in the territory as of yet. As of Thursday, nearly 25% of U.S. adults across the nation again are now fully vaccinated against COVID-19. And there's some grim news coming from the UK. Prince Philip has died. The 99-year-old husband of Queen Elizabeth had been admitted to the hospital many times in the past 10 years. His most recent stay ended in March and lasted a month. He received a medical procedure for his heart during that most recent visit. The Duke of Edinburgh was born as the Prince of Greece and Denmark in 1921. He married Queen Elizabeth in 1947. He was the father to Prince Charles, Princess Anne, Prince Andrew, and Prince Edward. Prince Philip was known for his love of painting, horses, flying, sailing, and environmental conservation. He died from unknown causes at Windsor Castle. He would have turned 100 years old on June 10th.